It's Buffy.
Bitch.
We're back talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 1, Episode 2, entitled The Harvest. Written by Joss Whedon and directed by John T. Kretschner. This is the second half of the 2-hour premiere special, and it picks up straight after the to-be-continued freeze-frame scene from the last episode. Buffy is fighting that really big guy who threw her in a coffin. It's not looking too good for Buffy, because the big guy is right at her neck, very slowly and dramatically trying to eat her. Good thing he is trying to bite her so slowly and isn't just straight on chomping down, because the cross necklace that Buffy was given by the handsome lurker last episode comes into clutch, and as the big guy tries to bite her, it burns him and gives Buffy the opportunity to kick the big guy straight across the room, who looks slightly like Arnie. Fun fact, he was also in the X-Files, where he played a weird alien. Once Buffy's out of her coffin, she's back on her hero shit. Even though about 20 minutes ago she was arguing with Giles about how she doesn't want to be the Slayer anymore, she's straight back into it when duty calls, putting her neck out, saving the day. She gets out of the mausoleum, finds Willow as she hears her screaming from across the graveyard, saves Willow with some incredible high kicks and scares the vampire off. She then finds Xander, saves him with some more incredible high kicks, and stakes one of the vampires that was trying to eat him with a tree branch. She's very resourceful, which is a very good attribute to have as a Slayer. Unfortunately, Xander's mate Jesse does get nabbed by the vampires and requires a planned rescue. So they all meet in the library the next morning, and we get our very first occurrence of exposition time with Giles in the library. We all huddle around a big table while Daddy Giles tells us of an ominous big bad that Buffy needs to kill, and it's personally one of my favourite things in the whole show. Giles always gets very dramatic and serious during exposition time with Giles. He and Buffy explain to Willow and Xander about how vampires, demons, and all manner of nasty beasties actually do exist, and that Buffy is the Slayer, what that kind of means, and that they cannot tell anyone about her sacred duty. Hopefully, Willow and Xander will be slightly more subtle than Giles and Buffy have been so far. During exposition time with Giles, he explains that the world is very old, older than any of them could possibly know, and contrary to popular mythology, it did not start out as a paradise. He says the world's bare old, and for untold eons, demons walked the earth. I can only assume that the term demon was later adopted by humans for the names of these creatures that used to walk the earth, because Giles says that they existed long before the Bible and modern science, etc. So I assume demon is just a name that's been retroactively given to these creatures. I also don't think that at any point in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series they ever reference the actual devil himself or God in any way, so it doesn't seem like the demons that they're referring to are connected to anything in the biblical zeitgeist. But I could be getting a little bit deep into it. So, cliff notes of exposition time with Giles. The world's really old. There used to be horrible beasties that roamed it, and some of these very old demons that call themselves the Old Ones, which is very Lovecraft, that used to roam the earth, lost their dominion over this reality, so animals and man then rose up instead, but vestiges of these Old Ones and their mad powers are still present, like the magic with a K, so extra spooky, vampires, demons, werewolves, all that stuff, are still present on our plane. Right now, we don't get loads of information or lore about how different kinds of demons are made or how they're here, but Giles does say that a demon mixed their blood with man's blood and infected man with a demon's soul, and they can spread that around by mixing their blood with other people's blood and kind of like transferring the demon around, making people into vampires. So it's a whole blood-sucking thing, as Buffy said in the last episode.
To make you a vampire, they have to suck your blood. And then you have to suck their blood. It's like a whole big sucking thing. Mostly, they're just gonna kill you.
After Xander and Willow receive this information about vampires and other beasts being real, they're both reasonably surprised. However, Willow is quite accepting that what they saw was supernatural. She's like, vampires is what we saw. Yeah, that makes sense to me. And Xander tries to reasonably explain it away before Buffy kind of cuts across him and is like, look, I know, it seems mental. I thought it was mental when I first found out about it too, but it's real, so kind of get on board quick. But she is sympathetic to both of their shock. We then cut back to the Master, who is wandering around his falling apart church, and Darla brings him Jessie, and she's like, he is delicious. That is some virgin shit right there. She kind of drops herself in it because how would she know if he's got good tasting blood unless she had a little nibble? And the Master's like, what are you doing? Why are you eating my food for me? It's like you're a Deliveroo driver who's eating my chips. The Master then goes on a little exposition rant of his own, and he says that he's been living in this collapsed church for 70 years, which I looked up and is old-timey talk for about 60 years. And he says that he can't leave until the Ascension. We don't really know what that is yet or why he can't leave, but this guy seems bad, and it would probably be better if he stayed in his dilapidated sunken church. Darla then tells the Master about Buffy, and about her being really strong, and knowing about vampires, and he's like, OMG, a Slayer. So, Slayers are known to vampires. Obviously, Slayers know about vampires. They've got mutual beef. We cut back to the library. Giles, Willow, Xander, and Buffy are all trying to devise a plan to get Jesse back from the vampires. Xander is instantly trying to get involved and also wants to kill vampires, and Buffy has to kind of cut him off and say that she's the only one who can kill vampires and the only one who can kind of handle the situation, and also the only one that she wants to be in danger. She doesn't want any of her new mates to get put in danger. She also says that getting Jesse back is her responsibility because she let him get taken, and she's stepping up as the Slayer as it is her responsibility to save people's lives and that. I think she's a little bit hard on herself, and the group also say, you didn't let Jesse get taken. There was quite a few vampires and only one you, so cut yourself a little bit of slack. You've done a good job, Buff. Buffy says that to save Jesse, she needs to find Luke. That's his name. That's the big guy. His name is Luke. And that's her plan. Xander does then say that he wants to go with her again. She's kind of like, no. Willow suggests maybe calling the police, which, is a fair point. Giles says they're not going to believe this, which is also a fair point. And Buffy also makes a very valid point that the police are only going to bring guns, and that is also not going to help, as vampires are impervious to bullets. The squad figure out that the vampires must be using the town's sewer system and that there must be a sewer tunnel in the mausoleum because Luke kind of just popped out of nowhere from behind Buffy, and Buffy was like, oh, duh, yeah, of course. Vampires love using sewer systems because they can move around a town without catching any rays. Does this mean that all vampires smell like shit all the time? Because I cannot imagine you smell good if your main form of transport is the sewer. We cut back to the Master, who confirms Buffy's slayerness, says that Buffy must not interfere with the harvest. So it's really lucky that Luke was ranting loudly about the harvest to Buffy. So now the team know what to research to figure out what's going on. The rest of the Master's minions are like, should we go and get Buffy to ensure that she doesn't mess around with the harvest? And he's like, no worries, guys. We want her to come here so that we can get her. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to use Jesse as bait to lure Buffy here so that we can get her before the harvest starts and make sure she doesn't fuck up any of our plans. Buffy and the crew try to figure out how they'll get a map of the sewer system for the town. Giles is like, I guess we could go to City Hall and ask for it. And Buffy's like, there is no time for that, Giles. There is a teenage boy's life on the line. But Willow, thankfully, because Willow is sick and has sick nerd computer skills, and hacks into the local council and secures the sewer maps from the city planning department. What a legend. Giles is like, is this legal? She's like, no, not really. And it's a very nostalgic scene because you get to see Willow's fucking whopping computer. It really takes me back to year 7 IT. Xander is very butthurt that he doesn't get to be involved in the saving of Jesse plan, but Buffy won't let him put himself in mortal danger. He throws a little bit of a fit, and Willow also says that she wants to help, but she more reasonably is going to use her nerdy geek skills to help Giles do research about what the harvest is. Giles, as a stuffy British man, doesn't understand the future box, and Willow does. So she's going to help him, he's going to read his musty books, she's going to surf the net. Buffy is now armed with the sewer location and confidently starts to strut out the front gates of the school to go and save Jesse. But unfortunately is quickly caught by Principal Flutie trying to leave school grounds during school on her second day when she's already on thin ice. He reprimands her and locks the front gate, so Buffy just backflips right over it and gets the fuck out of there. She then goes full Nancy Drew in the mausoleum to find the secret tunnel entrance. However, she's interrupted by Handsome Lurker. He's back, coming out of the shadows again. have flirty, cryptic banter with Buffy about her current situation. We do learn that his name is Angel. I feel like Angel's behavior would be much creepier if he wasn't played by such an attractive actor. You know, I feel like Count Orlok is getting a bad rap for very similar behavior, perpetually stalking younger girls, following them around and kind of popping up when he's not necessarily needed. But poor Count Orlok gets called a little weird, corpsey looking creep, and Angel's like one of the favourites of the fan base. It's outrageous. After Angel and Buffy have some sexy, quippy banter and official introductions, Buffy finds the tunnel that she's looking for, the entrance to the sewer, and Angel warns her not to get involved because it's the harvest tonight, even though last episode he told her she needs to stop it. Again, cryptic, not very straightforward advice from Angel at this point. Angel says that it's the harvest tonight, and if it can't be stopped, the Master will walk free, and that'll be really bad. But our hero Buffy laughs in the face of danger, because she has a friend down there who needs her help. She again, quippily, asks Angel if he knows what it's like to have friends. Angel's bravado drops for a little bit, and he kind of seems sad, like he doesn't know what it's like to have friends, revealing that maybe he is a deeper, sadder, lonelier, mysterious, handsome lurker than she once thought. I wonder where this flirty back and forth with a tall, handsome, mysterious, tortured soul could possibly go. After Angel's slight introspection about his lack of friends, he points Buffy in the right direction, says, head towards the school in the tunnel, and you'll find the evil layer. Buffy's like, you gonna wish me luck? And he just smirks, and then she walks away. And he whispers, good luck. Once her flirty distraction is over, Buffy is back on her rescue bullshit. She's off to find Jessie. While exploring these creepy tunnels, we get a fake jump scare because Xander has followed her into the tunnels to help rescue his mate Jessie. Very stupid of him, also quite brave. Buffy tells him that he needs to go, but he refuses to leave, so Buffy lets him tag along. Xander checks with Buffy about what can kill a vampire. He covers the classic shit like garlic, crosses, and stakes, and Buffy agrees, saying that they can also be killed by fire, beheading, sunlight, or holy water. Even though Xander coming down to help Buffy is relatively brave, it's also stupid because he brings no weapons with him. He just brings a torch, which she immediately tells him to put down because the vampires will see them easier, and she hands Xander a cross for protection.
You've done some beheading in your time.
Oh, yeah. There was this time I was pinned down by this guy that played left tackle for varsity. Well, at least he used to before he was a vampire. Anyway, he had this really, really thick neck, and all I had was a little X-Acto knife. You're not loving this story.
No, actually, I find it oddly comforting.
We cut back to Willow and Giles researching the harvest and the Master. Giles mumbles some shit in Old English about the astrological moon position and stuff like that. And then he's like, oh shit, whatever is going on is going down tonight. Willow is being smart, obviously, because she goes to her computer class and she's also researching stuff that happened in the town that could possibly indicate a vampire activity in the past. She overhears Cordelia telling her friend Harmony about almost getting staked by Buffy yesterday when they went to the Bronze, and is really mean to Willow when she stands up for Buffy, but Willow gets her sweet, sweet revenge by being a big nerd and getting Cordelia to accidentally delete her IT project.
Okay, so how do we save it?
Deliver.
Deliver? Where's that? Oh.
Back in the underground tunnels, Buffy and Xander finally find Jesse on the floor. He is chained up in the tunnel. Buffy smashes through his chains with a big rock, and Jesse warns Xander and Buffy that the Master knew that they would come for him and that this is a trap. And Xander's like, it's okay, Buffy's a superhero, she can help us. And then spooky vampires start appearing at the end of the tunnel, so they run. Jesse then says that he thinks he can remember which way they brought him in, so maybe he can get them out. Buffy and Xander follow him. Plot twist, Jesse's been turned into a vampire, and he's lured them into the trap. Double trap. Jesse reveals his vampire face, and Xander and Buffy are obviously bummed. But Jesse seems pretty hyped about it, and he says that Xander seems like nothing but a shadow to him now. So it seems like when people get turned into a vampire in this universe, they kind of become bad. You do later find out that they don't have souls anymore when they get turned into a vampire, so they are still kind of themselves, hold some of their personality traits, but they no longer have a soul and are just kind of bad now. Buffy then starts smashing through the vampires and they lock themselves in, I don't know, some kind of underground silo. They escape out of an air vent. We get a tense chase through the vents. until they break through to the surface and they escape into the safety of daylight. The Master is obviously furious that his plan to lure and kill Buffy hasn't worked.
Colin.
You failed me. Tell me you're sorry.
I'm sorry.
There. That wasn't so bad, was it? Oh, hold on. You've got something in your eye.
Back with the big brains, Giles and Willow, who are currently going through old newspaper articles from around 60 years ago when there was a big earthquake in Sunnydale. And this earthquake kind of fits the spooky vampire vibe because a church sunk during this earthquake. Willow discovers that there were a grisly stretch of murders right before the earthquake, indicating that maybe it wasn't a normal earthquake and it was spooky in some way. Once Buffy and Xander return to the library and tell Willow and Giles about the unfortunate incident with Jesse and him, becoming a vampire, etc., we get exposition time with Giles. Giles says that around 60 years ago, a big bad vamp, the Master, was knocking around this area, and he didn't just come for the snacks. He was attracted to Sunnydale because of the mystical Hellmouth energy, and because the veil between this world and other realities is thin here, the big bad vamp, the Master, wanted to open a big bad portal to let those old ones that used to roam the earth back through, so that they could have demony hell on earth once again. But the Master's dastardly plans were stopped because of a massive fucking earthquake that swallowed half of the town and him and kind of trapped the Master between worlds. Giles says that the earthquake was probably caused by the Master trying to open this big mystical portal, which isn't as easy as maybe the Master thought it would be. So he's opened this big portal, it's caused a massive earthquake, and the Master has kind of become trapped in the sunken church where he did the ritual kind of in between this reality and another, so he can't really leave the church, but he's still present on this plane because he kind of fucked up this big ancient ritual 60 years ago. And now that the moon and other astrological and celestial bodies are in the same position that they were 60 years ago, the Master now try and do the ritual again and get out of his prison, the Ascension. Giles also explains that one of the Master's hench vampires will become his vessel, which will bear a big mark on his forehead. This vessel will be able to acquire strength on behalf of the Master via the harvest. It's very considerate that the old vampire magics require the vessel to have a big fucking target on his forehead, so Buffy knows exactly who to go for. Very convenient, very helpful. We cut back to the vampires, and the Master begins the ritual to imbue his vessel with his powers. He basically gets Luke to drink some of his blood and carves a big triangle on his forehead and is like, Luke will now need to go and eat a whole bunch of fucking people on my behalf, and then I will gain power and strength and be able to bust out of my weird limbo reality cage. So, now we know what the plan is. Buffy knows who to kill because big triangle in his forehead. They also kind of figure out that the only place that the vampires are going to be able to go to get sweet, sweet, delicious virgin blood on such short notice and in such large quantities is the Bronze, because it's Friday night and that's where everybody goes. So, now Buffy knows who the baddie is, what she needs to do, and what the plan is. So, Buffy heads home to prep for her night of vampire slaying. She grabs her leather jacket. You know shit is about to hit the fan when Buffy is in a leather jacket. Trust me, watch out for it. It will become a theme. We also see her stack up on vampire killing supplies. She pulls out like a trunk that has a little fake bottom in it, and underneath is a whole bunch of stakes and crosses and what looks like a jar of communion crackers. I'm not sure why the communion crackers are in there. I don't know if Buffy just keeps up on taking the sacrament or if she makes the vampires eat them. I'm not sure, but they're in there. While Buffy is leathering up, her mum is like, where are you going? And she's like, I'm going out, mum. Mum's like, I didn't hear you come home last night either. And you're going out again. Are you becoming a delinquent once again, Buffy? She's like, Mum, no, I swear I'm not, but I really do have to go out. Joyce puts her foot down. I've been listening to parenting cassette tapes on how to control your wayward daughter, and they tell me that I need to say no to you, Buffy, and tell you that no, you can't go out. So you better get used to hearing me saying no. You kind of get the impression that maybe Joyce has been a little soft on Buffy in the past, and is maybe kind of blaming herself a little bit for Buffy's bad behaviour Joyce really throwing a spanner in the works for Buffy saving the world. I feel like this is the time that you kind of tell your mum about your sacred duty. I do get that her mum probably wouldn't believe her and also could potentially think that she's mental, but this really is life or death, mother. So Joyce tells her she can't go out. Buffy pretends that she won't go out, and then about 5 minutes later busts through the window and is off to save the world. We cut to the Bronze, which is, like Xander aptly called, full of people and teenagers. We get some fantastic logic from Cordelia, who is talking to her mates.
Like, Jesse, did you see him last night following me around like little puppy dog? You just want to put him to sleep. But senior boys, they have mystery. They have, what's the word I'm searching for? Cars. I'm not the type to settle, you know? It's like when I go shopping. I have to have the most expensive thing. Not because it's expensive, but because it costs more.
While Cordelia is dancing on the dance floor, we pan over and we see that Jesse is here, and he is certainly giving off a different vibe than his nerdy friend of Xander that he was giving off previously. He kind of catches Cordelia's eye, and they have a little bit of a dance, and then the vampires arrive at the Bronze. They pull up outside, full vamp face and everything. I don't know if the bouncer is supposed to be dressed like a porn bouncer, but that is what he looks like to me. He does try and stop the vampires from entering the club, and I think he's about to say no one can go in unless I see some ID. I'm not sure if, like, all the teenagers have fake ID, or if you just have to have some kind of ID to get in, but I don't understand the rules of admission into the Bronze. The vampires bowl in, they cut the lights, they cut the music, and Luke starts to get bare ominous and creepy about what's about to go down. Delia, while dancing with Jesse, is like, what's going on here?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
And she turns, and Jesse's gone full vamp face too. Luke eats the porn bouncer in front of everyone. The crowd rightfully freaks out as they've watched a man get murdered right in front of their eyes, and all hell starts to break loose. Buffy and the squad show up. She starts dishing out instructions to the team, tells them to get as many humans out as they can, clear all the exits, and leave the rest to her. Xander, again, says that he wants to get in there and help and stop Jesse from doing anything stupid, because, you know, he's his mate. And Giles tries to get through to Xander that Jesse's gone. He's not your friend anymore. And when he looks at Jesse, the only thing that he's gonna see is the thing that killed his friend. Very poignant, Giles. Very poignant indeed. As Luke eats more and more of the crowd, the Master is getting stronger and stronger. Jesse does try to eat Cordelia a little bit, but Darla does stop him, saying that all of the victims are for the Master. Buffy takes the lead and breaks into the club by doing some crazy parkour and getting in a top window. She spots Luke, who is not subtle about being the vessel because of the giant mark on his forehead, so she's like, that's the one. Luke loves to monologue. He loves to monologue about bad things to come and how much of a great honor this is to be a sacrifice for the Master, blah, blah, blah. Which is good, because it gives Buffy some time. Luke tries to eat Cordelia. Don't worry, Buffy saves the day by throwing one of the vampire minions off the balcony as a distraction, and she even gets time to quit. She then flips off the balcony onto the pool table in front of everyone. Again, Buffy not being subtle at all with her powers while she's in public, but I guess now's not really the time. One of the minions runs at Buffy and she kills him with a pool cue. Fantastic. And she starts throwing down with Luke while Giles, Xander, and Willow try and get the people out. Xander gets a little bit grabbed, but Buffy launches a drum cymbal and decapitates the vampire. She's so resourceful with her killing apparatus. I enjoy it very much. Side note, Luke is also wearing a very girly choker. I'm not sure if that was a big fashion at the time, but it looks kind of funny. Jesse tries to eat Cordelia, but Xander comes to her rescue. He does try and reason with Jesse and is like, come on, bruv, don't make me do this. There has to be a part of the human you in there still, but human Jesse doesn't seem to be in there anymore, and he just seems to be a massive knob now. So Xander holds a stake to his heart, but he can't quite seem to do it, even with Jesse taunting him, until one of the crowd pushes past Jesse and kind of pushes him onto the stake, dusting Jesse. Bit traumatic for Xander, you know, watching his childhood best friend turn to dust, but unfortunately, it had to be done. Giles also almost gets eaten by Darla, but Willow douses her with some holy water. She sizzles, and we get a very classic stock sound effect. It's starting to look a little bit dicey because Buffy gets grabbed by Luke after she helps Xander by cutting that vampire's head off. Again, this is why she didn't want you around. She didn't want to have to save you. So it's getting a little bit hairy, but she does headbutt her way out of it. And then it's final showdown time. They do a little bit of taunting back and forth, And then Buffy pulls some of the slickest shit.
Metal can't hurt me.
There's something you forgot about, too. Sunrise. It's in about 9 hours, moron.
Well, that was fucking dreadful.
She stakes him, calls him a moron, saves the day. What an absolute G. The Master can feel that his vessel is dead and realise that his plans have failed, and he is very, very dramatically pissed off. We then get a shot of Buffy that is used in the opening credit scene. The remaining Master minions kind of dip and realise that it's all kind of over. Their big bad guy is done for, and they run off. And then we see that Angel has been lurking outside the bronze and kind of hides from the vampires that are running off, and he seems surprised that Buffy pulled this off and she stopped the harvest. It's funny because he whispers out loud, "Oh, she did it," to no one, just to himself, which is kind of funny because it's just Angel chatting to himself in an alleyway, which, I mean, to be fair, is quite on brand for Angel. The team huddle up and are relieved they've averted an apocalypse. Good job all round, team. Well done, everyone. We then see Buffy walking through the school the next day, and you overhear Cordelia explaining to one of her friends what happened at the Bronze last night. And the story is going round that it was two rival gangs that were fighting over territory or something. And people seem very willing to forget about all the weird supernatural stuff that happened that they can't really explain, even though they saw it. Buffy meets up with Willow and Xander, and they're just happy that everything's over and can't wait to get back to their normal lives. But Giles is like, not so fast, bitches. We didn't kill the Master. He could try something else to get out. Or there could be a whole bunch of other baddies crawling all over this hellmouth that they need to kill. Really setting us up for the rest of the season in just a few lines. Sunnydale is on a hellmouth. That's bad. But Buffy is a Slayer. That's good. But she also might get kicked out of school, and that's bad. But they're also going to work as a team, so that's good. But they also could all die. That's bad. And that is the end of episode 2. The crew are okay, they saved the day for now, and now they need to balance their normal teenage life of going to school with saving the day. The first 2 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer do a fantastic job of setting up the tone for the rest of the series. Flipping tropes on their head, a small blonde girl not being helpless and that she isn't a damsel in distress. She isn't just written as a one-dimensional character, she's got layers. And the show, like Buffy, has a lot of layers. It's steeped in metaphor, analogies for growing up and becoming an adult, how that changes you, and how growing up can force responsibility and self-reliance. And it also sets up the fun, witty, light-hearted angle of the show. I don't plan to do too much of a deep dive into all the philosophical debates that spark from Buffy the Vampire Slayer because I am not that smart. But I will try and cover some of them when I pick up on it. There is a lot of subtext to Buffy and I'm sure I will miss so much of it. So please do feel free to let me know what I've missed. Thank you so much for watching. On to episode 3.